All right, bet. All right, y'all. So I had to like restart my computer. I actually did it on accident. I didn't try to restart my computer, y'all. That's my bad. So I had to redo my album from scratch. Okay, is this shit working? It says I'm streaming. I hope it's working. If it's not, I don't know what to tell you. Twitch has been tweaking. Twitch doesn't rock with me right now. RAM right now, not terrible, but not really great. Got a 1070, like an older graphics card in there. I really need a newer one, but it's working for now. And then I got a new. So long story short, everything, all of my gear, basically goes into this analog mixer. I don't even remember exactly when I got this thing. About 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years. Four, maybe 5 years ago. Um, this is the Allen and Heath performances, but it works great as a recording console too because it's pretty clean, has enough gain. It's got each channel has an EQ, and also four buses essentially. The two really to just make it so I don't have to plug in a mic every time I want to use a mic or use a piece of gear. I don't have to plug something in and change everything. That's really was my goal. I can just have it already ready to go. And I think that might be helpful for some people out there. So that's why I wanted to share that with y'all, like how you can get it, how you can use an analog mixer. It doesn't have to be a big 32 channel one, but how you can use an analog mixer to just get a few channels in to your DAW and have it be ready to go seamless. So it's pretty simple. So I'll talk a little bit about that today because I know for me, when I was getting this, I was really puzzled on how I'm getting all these channels to show up in my DAW, the amount of channels, and using an analog mixer with the digital through my computer. I think understanding the mixer is a good way to do that. So essentially, what the mixer is doing is everything is plugged into here, and then the mixer is then sending it out that do not really color the sound or add too much of a noise, of a signal noise to it, or a floor noise for very cheap prices, and that's why this video is really possible. So I just want to say shout out to Behringer. If y'all niggas need a sponsor, or to have someone to sponsor, hit me up, sir. Or to have someone to sponsor, hit me up. We'll get it done. Just send me the new Pro 800, and then we'll start there. Okay. Um, but so everything from my mixer inputs of these two audio interfaces. This is the Behringer 88-8200 and the Behringer UMC 1820. They each have 8 inputs, so that's 16 inputs. They're connected through ADAT and being sent into my computer. Okay, so that's how I'm getting those 16 channels from my mixer are going into the patch bay. Those 16 channels are then going from the patch bay, automatically being patched down into the first 16 channels of my audio interface, and then those 16 channels are going into my computer. Okay. Now, in the output, I have the output of my audio interface. The main two outs are being sent back into the mixer, which then are connecting my out of my monitors here. Okay, my monitors are fairly cheap monitors. Some Atom audio monitors. I think they're the T7s or something like that. The T5, okay? Only a 5-inch woofer. It's really not big because my room here is only 10 by, I think it's like 10 by 11 or something, right? Not including my extension down here, okay? Which is all of this extra space down here that I have for storage and shelves. Right, see some extra keyboards down there. See the shelves, some more instruments and stuff. That's where this whole rack mount is sitting. not including that. So because of that, I really don't need two bigger monitors, and that's another thing that I would say is, I have some bigger monitors, some JBL reference monitors, but really, if you don't have a huge space, you don't really need the biggest monitors, right? You don't need the most giant monitors. I'm sorry if y'all can't hear me too, because I'm just realizing that I've been speaking into this mic, which probably isn't the best mic. Let me see if I could use my other mic too. I'm gonna see if I can set up this other mic. Hold up. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me see if I can set up this other mic for y'all really quick. So I could use my phone mic as well. If I can't, it's all good. I'm gonna spend about 30 seconds on it. Microphone check 1, 2. Microphone check 1, 2. Microphone check 1, 2. Okay, hold up. Microphone check 1, 2. Appreciate y'all being patient, man, with the whole. It's gonna take it's taking me a little minute to get a camera bottom. Yep. Microphone check. Mic check 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2. All right. Seems like that's good. Appreciate y'all being patient with me with the whole audio and everything, but I'm getting it right for y'all. This once this is right, man. We're gonna take over the game, man. Getting everything straight, man. So my camera's lit. Your audio's good for y'all. Hopefully y'all can still hear me now that I'm not next to my mic. See, I'm just trying to make it good for y'all. So, anyways, my monitors aren't that big because I'm mixing in a small environment, and I'm catering to that. Okay. But long story short, out of my mixer is going to my monitors. Okay. The audio from my audio interface, the output 1 and 2, which is where my computer sending my audio, is going into my mixer. And all the rest of the outputs are also going into these channels. This is all the outputs. So all the outputs from my audio interface are coming here. So I can send the outputs here and then mix levels and EQ, set the levels how I want, and then send it back through these groups back into my computer and record it in here. I can send it back in here. Group 3 and 4, I don't think is connected to anything, but group 1 and 2 is being sent back into the patch bay right here. And then from here, I can route these to any other 2 channels I want to record audio. I could send them back into any of these 416 channels and hit record, and then I'll get the mix back into my computer. So that's how it's all set up right now. That's a general overview. The first 16 channels, I'm going to go through what's on them, but these are all inputs. that are being sent into the patch bay. The patch bay is connected to the audio interface, which goes into my computer, and we can select the inputs on there. I can show you how that works later. And then the output from my audio interface, all the audio is coming back into the mixer and going out to my monitors so I can listen to it. Okay? Or I could send it back through here, back into the group, back however I want it, basically, you know? So that's the cool thing, is the flexibility. I could send any of these things as a group here, and that's how I set it up. And I could always go back and change it. But this is like the central hub for my audio studio, which is this analog mixer. All the inputs are going in here. All my outputs are coming out here or coming out here through this channel, which is this is where my computer. This is the stereo track that has my computer audio coming on through it right here. So when I play something, it goes through here, and then it goes straight to the main outs, and then I control it through here. So I love how the systems work. It took me a while, a lot of head scratching to figure out how to get this analog mixer to work, and a lot of cables, a lot of money on cables. That's really what you have to consider when you're getting this type of setup, is if you want to spend all the money on these cables to get everything hooked up. For me, it's worth it. I just plug everything in here one time, and if I want to record guitar, I just pick up that guitar. I turn up the track with the guitar on it, which is this one right here. I hit record, I unmute it, and this is channel 13, so I go in my inputs of channel 13, and then I click, turn that, just put it, activate it for recording, monitor it, and then I can record it, and then I can put my guitar back and hit mute, and it's just done. I don't have to touch a cable. That's the coolest thing, is I don't have to touch a cable. So let's go through what gear I have on set up to my mixer, and then maybe I'll touch on a little bit on the gear I have not set up, that I have just sitting around, and then you'll kind of have an overview of how I'm using it all and how it all works. Right now, this microphone, which I'm using for the podcasting and all the AA on the beat reaction videos and everything, this mic that I have is the infamous Shure SM7B. I got this years ago. I don't remember when I got it, but I got it when I knew I wanted to be serious about, recording podcasts, and not just podcasts, but any type of reaction content. The actual arm on it was a gift that my brother got me, so I'm so grateful that my brother got this for me. But he got it for me, and I try to use it. I gotta blow up with that shit. With that, this SM7B is actually going into channel 1, so that's the first thing I have. The SM7B. I recommend, if you have a mixer or something like this, you label it with tape so you don't have to wonder. You just put the tape down here, then you label it, with whatever it is that's on there, and then you can remember. The SM7B, and I'll talk a little bit about the mixer too, for anyone who's not familiar. Each one of these channels, it's just the same thing. There's duplicated 32 times, 16 times here. Then you have the middle hub, which this is like the monitors and like all the sends. And then you have the next 16 inputs, in this case, which are coming from my audio interface. These are the output to my interface that are coming in now, so. And then this is basically just an EQ. This is up here is the gain. You have phantom power if your microphone needs it. I don't actually think I do need it, but I have it on just in case, whatever. You could switch polarity. You have a pad here for instrument cables, or for instruments. Here's the gain. And then here's the, this is the EQ. So I have a high pass filter, which I actually have it on right now. And then this is just the EQ. The cool thing about this mixer is it has like a sweepable bandpass EQ. You know, you can change the frequency that you're boosting or cutting. Then it has the send here. So it's pretty straightforward. This console or this mixer does not really color the sound, which typically you'd go for like, you know, Neve or SSL or something where it made it sound cooler or better. You know, SSL has cool compressors, and Neve has like cool preamps and everything. This one I think is just pretty clean and it doesn't really color the sound, which I kind of like because I feel like it gives me more options to color things in the box later. So for anyone who's looking for like a pretty clean mixer, I will maybe look at, you know, live mixer or an Allen Heath mixer, where it's still analog. You're still gonna be able to be in that domain, but it's not like giving you this permanent coloration to the sound that you can't change later. And the EQ is pretty flexible, pretty neutral, so you can put a lot of different things through it, and it's functional. I like it. Nothing special, you know. But anyway, so all of these, this microphone, for example, the SM7B, it's has a direct out that's being sent at the same time to my patch bay, and that's where I'm using to connect to um, the audio, you know, the audio interface. So all the stuff that you see here is being sent direct out, as I already explained. But then I have my SM7B in line one. Then I have my next microphone that I use for most of my vocals, which I guess this is a cheat code for anyone who watches this video later. The KSM32. It's a great mic for everything. It's a very neutral mic. Shure KSM32. I've been using it on my vocals for probably about 2 years now, if not more. And it's like the poor man's Newman 87. I'm just gonna say that. It's a very flat vocal mic, and I have this Chaotica eyeball on here to just, you know, because I'm not in an actual booth here. This is just the next simplest thing to make it, you know, take apart some of the background noise and everything. But yeah, I have the KSM32 that's being sent into here. Next, I have these two mics are for my piano. So channels 3 and 4 is where my piano is hooked up to. And that is my RM5 ribbon microphone, which you can see in there. And then next is my MXL, my Chinese microphone, MXL 990, which is a large diaphragm mic. I'm using that here. At the tail end of the piano, I'm always experimenting and changing around my piano designs and how I record and all that stuff, but I'm using those two microphones, and then I also have what I'm using to record my piano is mostly those two microphones, but then I also have an SM58. Have an SM58 just sitting here in the tail end inside one of these holes on the soundboard. So I really use those three mics. That one is right here. So if I'm recording piano um, into like my Logic, I'll turn on these two right here. And then I'll come here and turn on this DI. This is the third one. Then I'll pretty much just try to match the levels, change the gain if I need to, just the gain as I need. And once those three levels are coming in at a good volume, here, let me see if I can get Reaper up for you guys so you guys can see what it looks like in the audio interface. And then I'll just get the volume right, and then record. Let me see. Let me change it. Wait 1 second. open up a blank project for you guys. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Let me change my view. I don't know why OBS is making this shit so hard today. Hold up. Okay, there we go. Let me put my phone down. Whew. Okay. All right, so if I was recording piano, what I would do, let me see, hold on, let me change this for y'all. All right, so I showed you guys how I would have the 3 mics. So I have input 3. I'm using Reaper here to make it look like Pro Tools, but whatever DAW you use is pretty much the same thing. Let's go to your recording. Oh, not there. I'm gonna choose the channels, input. So for me, it's input 3. That's what I have. My third input of my analog interface is my third input in my third input in my analog mixer goes into my audio interface in input 3, right? So it's lined up, so I can just click input 3, and that is now the piano, okay? So I'm getting a signal now when I hit the piano, right? That's input 3. Make sure it's not stereo, is it? Why is it the stereo? Yeah, mono. Yeah, input 3. That's right. And then we'll go to my next channel here, and we know it's input 4. So this was the MXL 990. Right, so there's that one. There's 2 channels. And then I said I like to use my third channel, which is input 13. Right? So input 13, that's my AD or the ADAT number 5, because that's going into my other one. Oh wait, not working. What's wrong? It should be ADAT 5, right? Okay, so this is where I check my cheat sheet. Yeah, input 13 should be 8.5, and that's on. It's unmuted. It should be working. 8.5. Okay, so that one's not working. So now I'm thinking something is wrong. Now my engineering hat has to come on. I don't know why line input was down. That shouldn't be. Okay, we're gonna investigate. Make sure it's plugged in. And of course I'm looking at the wrong input, so that's my fault. It's not 13. It's 12. It's supposed to be 12, not 13. So that's my fault. So it's actually 8 at 4. Gotta make sure you're checking the right one. Now when I turn that one, wait, is it? No, I think it's 11. Okay, that's my fault. It's 8 at 3. That shows I haven't done that in a little while. 8 at 3. And there it is. So it can be a little confusing. It might be helpful to to not only mark the analog interface, but to mark like the microphone or the end of the cable, just so you can see exactly where it's going. But long story short, that's how I would mic my piano in like just a very quick, how I have it set up right now. You guys can hear it. Let me play. Piano's not tuned, but you get the idea. So my piano's also typically set up to record too, just because I just need that like ready at all times kind of a thing. Yeah, we got 3 and 4. Yeah, so and it's also just set up in OBS because it's already channels 3 and 4. It's just ready to go. 3 and 4, just hit record, boom. You know, that's how I like to try to keep it. Yeah, it's like really hot right now. I'm trying to match the levels and everything. It's not gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna continue because I will get stuck on the piano part of the studio tour and just get lost there. But that's how my piano is generally set up to record really quickly. Giving out maybe too much sauce at this point, but I'm just gonna mute those channels for now when I'm not using them, and I like to just leave them how I just left them. So if I want to record, I just hit unmute, record, and that's it. You know. So what's actually kind of cool is if you just want to do this again, is come here, and I'll just save this as a quick template. Piano basic 1. And if I want to come record piano, I could just open this. The track's already ready to go. I could record, and I don't have to think about it. And then later I can figure out what I hadn't recorded and figure all that out, right? But that's generally how I like to keep my studio set up, just ready to go, hit record, get the idea, and then later you can mold it into the song or, you know, whatever it is that you want it to be. But let's go ahead and return back now to the rest of the channels. And the rest of it should hopefully not be super long. unless I do any more demonstrations, which will take forever. Hold on. Trying to fix my docs right quick. I still don't know if Twitch is working, to be honest. I don't think it is. But I'm kind of at the point where it's just like, screw it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And we are definitely going to run up Twitch and keep streaming over there. But I got to run up this YouTube too, man. I gotta divide the time between YouTube. I mean, I got to go on Twitch and just make YouTube videos. Like Asmongold, essentially. But let's get back to the rest of the tour. So that was channel 3 and 4. All right, are the two for my piano. Channel 11, I also use for my piano, right? I mean, but I can take that mic and put it wherever I want in the studio. But that's just where it's currently set right now, right? So then, channel 5, I have my Moog. Not a real Moog, but close enough. The Model D. Model D is set up to channel 5, and it's also being controlled with this MIDI. Up here is it's a Kawai MIDI patch bay, right? So that's the cool thing, because I have a MIDI patch bay, so I can set it up so this keyboard or this MIDI controller or this MIDI controller can control any of my synthesizers or just straight into the computer and record as MIDI, because it's all going into the patch bay, the computers in the patch bay. So I can send MIDI out from my computer into the patch bay, into any synthesizer, and use it as a sequencer, which is like really cool. I need to explore a lot more. That's a whole nother video I might even do, how to use your computer as a MIDI sequencer, for those who don't know how to like send out the MIDI into, you know, the analog world and then record it back. It's one of my favorite things to do after I learned how to do it. So yeah, that's my Moog. It's right here on channel 5. Then I have on channel 6, I have my OBX, my Matrix. Analog synthesizer. I have to do videos on just this gear right here, but my Matrix right here, which I use for so many patches. It's all over my music, my albums. This is it's my first analog polyphonic synthesizer. I love it to this day. I use it all the time. I kind of want to like play on it a little bit, just so we could like hear some of the sounds, but you know, that might have to be another video, as we're gonna make this an hour long. But yeah, my Matrix is set up right here, so I can just turn this on and hear my Matrix, whatever's being played through there. Then on my next 2 channels is my 2600. It's the ARP 2600. It's this guy right here, stereo channels. These stereo channels for this synthesizer are going to my next 2 channels in my analog mixer. So I can just turn on the 2 channels right here, and then I get my Matrix sounds going into my computer. I can record those. And then, so that's all. That's pretty much the 4 pieces, the 4 synths I have plugged in: my Moog, the Matrix polyphonic synthesizer, and then my 2600. Then I have my microphones, 2 SM57s stereo, which are right here, and hooked up to whatever guitar amp. Right now I'm just using this little inexpensive positive grid amplifier, practice amp essentially, that I'm running all my sounds through, and it's been pretty nice to record on too. It's definitely not a tube amp or as great as one, but I get pretty good sounds through here, that I pretty usable, and also I can just record DI. So the cool thing is I can record just the channel direct in here, and then also I can take another. Yeah, I could also at the same time record the sound, going through the amp, going through these two microphones hooked up through the amp. So I can get kind of interesting variations here. Um, what I do is I have everything going into my patch bay, right? So out of my mixer goes to my patch bay. Then from my patch bay, I send out the signal from my guitar, which is here on channel 13. Is it 13? Yeah, so I send out the one from my guitar, which is going through this transmitter into the back of my mixer, and through my mixer into the patch bay. From the patch bay, I'll send it through here. Then I can send it to any pedals I want or effects. So I just have it on a tube screamer and then a wah pedal for a little bit more control with my guitar tones. And then I'll send it back either into my amplifier here or typically into my amplifier, right? And then from there I'm recording it. But that's just a cool way I can send the signal, so instead of having to take that guitar cable and plug it in somewhere or plug it into the cable or plug it into the pet, like it's just all connected, and I can just hit on and then make sure that's plugged in the actual amp. And then start to like experiment with some guitar tones. um, so I have, that's channel 13 and 14 are these two DIs right here, or this, direct from here and direct from here into the mixer for guitar and bass, so I can get those sounds pretty quickly. And then the 11 and 12 is the two microphones down here for that amplifier, which I can move anywhere. I can move these to be for different instruments as needed. And that's really for all of these four mics. Okay, so the two SM57s and the two SM58s. One I have is right here, which can be used, say I have a guest and they need an SM58 to just speak into or play an instrument. I have one right here ready to go. And then the other one is going into my piano, right? So these four mics are flexible for wherever they're needed, and they kind of can be swapped around. Then I have two DIs, and I have two channels here, which are actually open. They're free, right? So if I had something I needed to plug in a piece of gear or anything I just wanted to quickly just patch in without having to unplug anything else, I could use these two channels here. And both of these, I believe, are stereo channels. So it's actually like four more mono inputs potentially, which is kind of cool. But I don't need them because I have everything else already plugged in. So that's pretty much an overview. I know there's so much to cover. So besides that, I have my Baldwin piano. It's no model because it's for older. It's an older model. I think it's from like the 1920s, and I actually got it for free. Just had to move it, and I was pretty fortunate to get it when I got it and everything. I've used it for quite a few recordings. I plan to do quite a few more on here. But yeah, it's just nice to be able to have, for the longest time. Let me switch the angles here. For the longest time, I didn't have. I didn't have any way to play piano at my own home. I had to go to practice rooms. So it was really nice to be able to have my own piano at home. Yeah, it's just a blessing, man. It's a blessing to be able to sit down and just play some music, you know. Just think about people who may not have that opportunity or chance in their life just to have stillness and have a moment to just reflect and listen to some music. So, gotta thank God, man, and knock on wood that we were able to find that stillness in our lives in these times of uncertainty, right? I felt a little bit low. Okay. All right. So, wrapping up on the studio tour, man, it's really hard to even cover everything. I feel like I mostly covered the gear I have and gave a brief overview of how it's all connected. If you guys want a more detailed video on how it's connected in terms of how everything's plugged into the mixer and into the patch bay and how the patch bay works and that patch bay into the interface and you know how it all gets set up and then that into the computer into the DAW, you guys can let me know and you know, I don't really mind doing another video to break it down further for anyone who's interested. I know it's very kind of a niche subject, but you know, I just it took me a while to figure out. So now that I kind of have it broken down for the most part, I really don't mind sharing. But the really cool thing, as you guys can see, is let me see if I can get this set up. I'm always curious if I can get the reroute portion to work after I set it up, but it may or may not work. Let me see. It is. Okay, cool. Wow. That actually worked. Great. So there's so many little things you have to kind of figure out to get this whole setup to this work seamlessly. And it's been really cool to actually discover it all and get it all figured out. And a big learning process, but now I feel like, okay, now I got to figure it out. I got to use it, right? So the cool thing about the way I have my studio set up, and we haven't even fully broken it all down, is when I look at my inputs here, you can see all these inputs I have available to me. Inputs 1 through 8 are the first 8 channels here. Let me see if this view is better. The first 8 channels on my interface, my analog mixer, my 2 microphones, my 2 piano microphones, and my 4 synthesizers are all here, channel 1 through 8. Let me not mess with these. And then I have 1 and 2 SPDIF. That's, I don't really use those. But then I have my ADAT, my next 8 ADAT, and that's the next 8 channels I have here. So the first 16 channels I have are all in my analog interface in my computer, accessible, ready to record at all times, which for me is like, I gotta give myself a little pat on the back because it took me a while to figure that out. And that's like the crux of why my studio space is set up the way it is. I could come in and just record ideas just like that. Just got to make sure it's the right, input channel, and then I could focus on plug and change and all that stuff. And then I could also send everything here. The cool thing is I could not send it to the master. I could send things to, this is how we send the MIDI out. If I wanted to send MIDI information out, I could send it here. And then on my MIDI patch bay, I can set the channel so my synthesizer takes the MIDI input from my computer or that output and then pick up the info in that way. And it's been really great to put stuff in MIDI and then play it on my synthesizer while I'm adjusting the knobs, just have it loop. And it's been so cool and such a great way to like do sound design as opposed to having to try to play the keyboard at the same time. So for me, that was like really revolutionary. But let me go ahead and show hardware output. So I have all these hardware outputs. I could send it out to channels. Say I wanted to do ADAT 1 and 2. Right? I could send it out here. And then I could, let's see if I can do this really quick just like as an experiment. I could send the channels out to ADAT here and then have them come out here. So that's what I want to try to do. And I see them coming out. I do see them coming out, but not in my first ADAT channel. So I'm like, wait, what's going on here? But let's just try it anyways. I'm going to try to record a quick piano loop and then get my metronome. I'm trying to run the metronome so I can hear a tempo, but I don't even need the metronome. I'm not sure why it's not playing the metronome out, but it's okay. Oh, it's because I took off the, is it because I took off the master send? Let me see if I could troubleshoot really quick what's going on with my audio. I don't see anything funky. All right, let me just try to do a quick recording. This is like a little test really quick just to see if this works. But basically what I'm trying to do is record a quick piano sample and then send those channels out back into my mixer here to see if I can then mix it and then maybe send it back in as a group and record it. Maybe we won't even go that far. I just wanted to do as a little test just to see what it looks like when we send that audio out from my computer. Just recording random stuff. See what that sounds like. But let's not send it back through here. First, let me make sure my audio is actually working because I'm a little bit wondering why I'm not hearing any audio.
This is culturally inappropriate.
Ballerinas doing pirouettes inside of my snow globe. Shopping sprees in Soho, you had to see it. Strippers shaking ass and watching the dough blow. Ace trumpets and rose mode. Yellow diamonds look like PP. Bitches fly from DC.
How long was I muted? Shout out to the Clips amazing album. We experimenting right now. Okay, so that works. We're now gonna not send it to the master track. Only send it out to output 3 and 4. And let's loop this. So my first output isn't working. I'm trying to send it to output 1 and 2. And it seems to only be going to output 1. Let's try some different outputs. Let's try 3 and 4 just to see if it's something's going on. Now I'm seeing 3 and not 4. Let's make sure this is a stereo track. We don't even need this one, it's fine. So I'm trying to troubleshoot why it's not showing up on all the inputs I'm looking for right now. ADT 1 and 2. Let's split these. We should be seeing it. So we're only hearing one channel right now. So y'all can't really hear it, but basically I'm sending the audio from my computer back through my mixer and then listening to it that way. So then I can mix it and then send that mix back into my computer to record it if I wanted to. I don't have to, but it just shows the flexibility that I have. And I can do this with anything. I'm doing this now with these two audio tracks, and I'm a little bit wondering why it's not working. I'm like, okay, is my channel busted? Or is it just not? I'm trying ADAT1 by itself. Something might be up with ADAT1. Okay, it's got to be line. It's working just fine. This got to be line. So I was unaware of that, but because of the input source, it's not, has to be line. So now when we click, and this is the great thing, like I'm learning all the time from just working on this. And now they're both working. So I'm gonna show you guys. Okay, so now these are the two inputs. This is coming from my computer. So I just recorded on my piano. It's being sent. ADAT 1 and 2, so it's being sent from my computer out of that interface right here, being sent back into these two channels, and I'm listening to it, I'm monitoring it here. I'm choosing for it to come out of these speakers, but I can also send it as a group, 17 and 18, after I mix it. So I could say I wanted to mix it. Let's take out the highs. I can mix it right here really quick. Pan it. Some spreading. Totally change the sound. Okay, then I'll send it as a group. I can send it on this group here, and then I can record this group back into two different channels. So then I can record this, say, on, if I wanted to record it on channels. Let's say I want to do 7 and 8. I want to record those on channels 7 and 8, so I take over here and take it out of 17 and 18, which is my group, and then go to channel 7 and 8. And here you can see they're coming in on channel 7 and 8 now. So now I can record this. So now I'll come over here. I'm gonna turn this off so you can't hear it. Or you can, whatever. And I'm gonna record. And now it's gonna record that, which is being sent through my computer into the mixer, into these channels, being mixed, and then being sent at whatever level, back through as a group, back into my computer, which is what you're seeing being recorded right now. So I'm gonna save that. That's the take. Take off recording. I can turn down the group. I can mute it. So anything I can record, I can put into a group and send it and record it in here, back in my computer, exactly the way, and it's separate from the monitoring phase. So I can be listening to whatever. I can have a group, whatever. It's so convenient, and I still haven't even tapped into the potential of what I can do. And now this is the recorded. This is channel 7 and 8, which you can see right here. Output section. And so this is the mixed version of what I just recorded. Might be an interlude. I kind of want to do it again because I like the way it sounds with this EQ. That's the cool thing. I get to mix the EQ, change the levels how I want, and I really like how that sounded actually. Like, first thing after I boosted it a little bit, and you can boost it here, and the headroom you have and the distortion you have in this realm, it's just a little bit different than the digital realm. So it's just really cool to be able to mix both worlds, and of course I can come here and put on any post production effects and plug in and start to go through my list of all my plugins here to see which one I want to use to enhance the sound further. So that's basically an overview of how I'm using my recording studio, the main pieces of gear in here. There's other gear I did not touch on, which I'll just do really briefly just so I could say I did. The gear I did not touch on. I have 2 keyboard amps right here, 2 Roland, like a KC500, KC350, I think, for live gigs and things. Down there, I got my old Novation Ultra Nova synthesizer, or I have a Mini Nova and a Zio 25. That was my first synthesizer. Novation Zio 25, shout out Novation. Up there, I have a Kurzweil. Dang, I forgot what that thing's even called. The one that I believe was Jordan Rudess uses a lot. It's a Kurzweil that Richard Wright used on Shine On You Crazy Diamond for that intro sound. You guys could look it up. But it's a great synthesizer. I don't use it enough. Down here I got my Neve, my preamp. This is what I use for my vocals. The Neve 1073 Lunchbox preamp. Shout out to Neve. Right here I got the AMS RMX 16 for reverbs. All this is set up and plugged into the patch bay so I could like patch anything into here. My Yamaha SPX 90 effects processor. This is also in the patch bay, so anything I could send into these units and get some of those sounds. But that's essentially it, what I have here. And then I have, some other random pieces of gear, like a vocal processor down there. There's a couple drums a couple of hand drums. Um, my ARP Odyssey, which I don't use, unfortunately, it needs new circuitry, but I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it so much. The 2600 gives me basically everything I need from here. But I will always love this synth. It's so versatile. Gets you so many different sounds and noises with these oscillators. It's so incredible. Love this thing. Took it all over the world with me, and I can't wait to use it more. It's just, man, I did so much with this great keyboard right here, and I love using this thing. Wish it was a little bit bigger, but that's, you gotta get the OG one for that. My Alias Q49. This is my workhorse. This is what I put all my 808s on. This this keyboard has just been so consistent. And I love putting melodies on here. I love playing. I love the playability of this thing. So easy. I have it set up. My Novation Remote Zero. Shout out Novation. I use this to actually control the MIDI on anything, but specifically the Matrix Oberheim. It's really hard to control that, so I use this and some certain patches that I have to control some of the LFOs and some of the the vocals control filters and everything in the Matrix. It's a little bit slow, just because of how old the system is, but it actually is not that bad because I believe it's had the update. So I use this. I got this specifically to control the Matrix for those polyphonic sounds. Someone gave me a trumpet. Shout out to you, man. I'm so grateful. And I am still learning the trumpet. My bass guitar is actually a short staff guitar, bass guitar, so I'm trying to buy a full size right now. But I don't play too much bass. I mostly use synth bass and 808s. But when I need it, it's there. My guitar, my trusty Fender custom Stratocaster guitar. Love that thing, man. I need to play it more, to be honest with you. And it's there for when I need it. So, for me, it's like, and then obviously my Roland RD800. This also was a gift. So shout out to John who gave me this. It's so, this thing is such a valuable keyboard that I don't think I'm going to need to replace it anytime soon. If I did, probably would get a Core Kronos or, another Roland, workhorse type of keyboard. But for everything I need, it's here, Then I have my actual piano, which I try to really be innovative with recording real acoustic piano and mixing that with modern production. So that's basically it, man. I mean, that's basically the overview of my studio. I finally did it, so now I just need to do the video, editing to get it out, and I'll show y'all even a little bit of my recording process and how I use my analog mixer. I didn't go into the detail of how it's all plugged in, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory, especially if you just read a manual or read how the direct outs work and how inputs work. It's just plug it in, plug it out. It's nothing too fancy, but it can be a lot to figure out when you're first getting into it. For anyone who wants to get into the analog world, I would honestly say get the most of what you can with digital, and then buy specific pieces of gear that help you think enhance your workflow or your sound. I would focus on your sound and the tone and really maximizing what we have. There's so many great tools we have with plugins and in the digital world that it really does not make sense to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on pieces of gear when you can do so much digitally and get further with your money in other ways. But for people like me who kind of already have been collecting up pieces of gear, and you may already have some synthesizers or maybe already have a drum machine. By the way, I didn't mention my Akai drum pad. This is what I put my drums on right now. I've had a number of different drum pads, but right now the Akai drum pad with the, you know, padded drums is all I need. So that's what I use, that and just my regular samplers are great for me. So yeah, that's basically an overview of my keyboards. I'm sorry, not my keyboard, but my studio space here. And I was really happy to finally put this together. I think I touched on all the gear I have that I use basically every day. And I would say, you know, if you're just starting out, you really need a computer, you need a good microphone, and you need a good audio interface, because the audio interface is going to have the preamp in there, which is going to be pretty, like, you know, nowadays they're all pretty decent and pretty standard. If you want more in-depth videos on that, you should look up like the best preamps and the best budget preamps and the best interface in terms of like what the preamps can do. There's a great video I saw on that talked about the noise floor and all that stuff. But generally, I would say Behringer has pretty good stuff for budget people. And I think that, you know, if you wanted to spend more money, I think like SSL was pretty high up there in terms of their the noise floor, like getting the best quality preamp you can for not too much. And they're generally mostly the same. You just want to avoid the really bad quality ones and bad quality stuff with audio gear in particular. But yeah, you know, my studio, like I said, I just started with like the most basic little Tascam 2-channel recorder, and I think I bought it off a friend of mine and was just like recording little demos on there, recording all the different instruments, and then like putting it together in Audacity, which was a computer software that probably very, very few people use seriously for music, because it's more like just for editing, just, you know, different types of audio, I guess. But I somehow made it work and was burning CDs. And, you know, fast forward now, I'm trying to put my music out on streaming platforms and all that type of stuff. So, yeah, it's just great to see the evolution. But I definitely, you know, did not get all of this stuff overnight or in a day. It was a long time of investing and getting what I thought was the best piece of gear I could get at the time. And I'm still doing that, still making those decisions. And it's just now using it all, you know, how you use it all together to get good quality music out fairly quickly, you know. And for me, the most important things for that is my computer and my analog mixer. So I can't give you enough praise to this GL2400 that I was showing you guys half the video. Everything's plugged into there, everything works, everything connects seamlessly. I just gotta make sure I'm in the right channel and all that stuff, you know. And you guys saw how I could turn that piano recording I did very quickly, and then put a quick EQ on it, send it back in, and just change the you know, the sound just from a simple EQ. And something about doing that in the analog world is cool. Not that you need to. I could have obviously did the exact same thing with just plugins, but something about feeling the knob and twisting it and listening to the sound in that way, I think it's just cool, and it makes you be a little bit more engaged with it. And it's just like, it's something about when you can't go back and change it later, you have to kind of commit to a certain sound. It's pretty cool, and I like that concept too. So I'm not gonna be on here too long today, because I already did quite a long stream just with the studio tour, which I'm glad I finally did. I can edit the video and be done with it, but I definitely wanted to just touch on hot topics right now, what's happening in the world. And really the elephant in the room, I feel like, it's been Jeffrey Epstein, because people really wanted to get Trump in there to drain the swamp and to get people, like, you know, held accountable for their decisions or whatever they have done. And I feel like that's why he was put in office. People really did not like what they're hearing about Hillary, and you know, the whole idea that, you know, they were doing terrible things to children. Let's be honest. And I think that's really what spurred the Trump movement on. And then for him to turn around and effectively say, we don't give a rat's ass. No, that's not exactly what he said. I think it's a touchy thing. He's got to be careful with how he rolls out the information about who was involved and what they're doing and what may have happened as a result, because a lot of people aren't ready to hear. I'm gonna check my Twitch because it says I'm streaming on Twitch. I doubt it, but let's see. Yeah, it's not letting me on Twitch. Let me see if my YouTube's good. All right, my YouTube's good, but look, we're gonna hop over to Twitch, man. I'm gonna try to chop up the video for y'all, publish it out. We're gonna try to find a schedule and a system that works where I can go live on YouTube with the AI on the beat content, and then I could also be live on Twitch, just chatting. But you know, I feel like Twitch might be a little more restricted nowadays. I don't really have no idea. We're just gonna do, shoot our shot until we get shot down effectively, and just bring y'all the information, man, and try to bring y'all the best content we possibly can with the setup we have right now. So with that, I just want to say, man, I really appreciate everybody who tuned in today. I thought we had a great stream. You know, we figured some stuff out. I got my phone working for y'all. I got the studio tour done effectively for the most part, and so y'all can see exactly what I'm working with in here. And, it's just no more mystery. So, for anyone who was wondering what my studio was looking like, and I'm going to keep y'all updated as I get the room treatment done as well. I'm going to actually change out these curtains. I have a lot better curtains, and just try to keep it fresh in here, keep everything like ready to go. And I'm just really happy with how I got here. I mean, it was not like this. Like when I first moved here, we didn't even have doors. We didn't have a window. This was not even a closed room. And to see now that I got the piano, the keyboard, my synthesizers, my other controllers, my mixer, all actually working and like being able to send different channels, and it's just like I'm really blessed, and just trying to take full advantage of this. So let's keep it going, y'all. I'm gonna hop over to Twitch for a little bit, maybe do some reaction, and then we're gonna call